Hello and welcome to our panel discussion of facing challenges to maximizing water reuse. I'm Hannah Ford, CUWA staff and moderator of today's discussion. With me are several panelists who represent important perspectives on this issue brief, and they will introduce themselves shortly. So for those of you who may be unfamiliar, the California Urban Water Agencies, otherwise known as CUWA, is a nonprofit organization. We're made up of 11 major urban water agencies located all across California, and our mission is to speak on topics of greatest importance with a unified voice on California urban water policy. Our focus today is on overcoming obstacles to maximizing water reuse. CUWA member agencies, along with our collaborative partners, CalDSAL, Southern California Salinity Coalition, and Water Reuse California, have been working together to develop an issue brief and supporting material on this topic. If you're interested in more, you can find it on the CUWA website. So our conversation today is just going to do a brief summary on the key drivers and associated challenges related to rapidly expanding reuse in California. CUWA agencies, in fact, many agencies in California, support water recycling. And we've made great progress. In addition to developing and implementing water reuse projects, California has recently published the California Water Reuse Action Plan and the Governor's Water Resilience Portfolio. These documents provide a clear and concise strategy on what it takes to advance water reuse in California over the next 30 years. Meanwhile, there's some growing interest by some to accelerate the reduction of effluent discharge in the environment. And the implication is that much of that effluent would be used for reuse. Now let's take a quick look at the numbers. So the state board recently published this 2019 volumetric reporting data. And as you can see on this bar chart, 0.7 million acre feet of wastewater effluent is currently reused. An additional 2.7 is available, but let's dig into what that availability means. So 1.3 million acre feet is currently planned for reuse by 2035. On top of that, some additional flow is beneficially reused, but not currently regulated by Title 22. So that's for things like land application or natural systems. An additional amount is required to maintain in-stream flows. And finally, the remainder could be constrained by technology or site-specific limitations. So what I mean by that as an example of a technology limitation could be if you use a process like reverse osmosis, where there's a waste stream that you can't reclaim, that's a technology limitation to maximizing reuse in that instance. So just looking at it by the numbers, it shows us the opportunity, but it doesn't really illustrate all of the challenges. That's why we've developed this issue brief. And our goal is to increase awareness of these obstacles that California water and wastewater agencies face in maximizing reuse. And we want to offer strategies to enable greater progress. So here we've outlined 6 key issues. And we've summarized those issues into these categories. The categories we've identified are collaboration and regional approaches, balancing competing needs and uses, salinity and RO concentrate management, water quality and source control, funding water reuse, and regulatory alignment. So our panelists will be touching on these issues during the discussion today. So with that, I'd like to introduce our panel, starting with Paula.
I'm Paula Kehoe. I'm the Director of Water Resources with the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission.
Hi, I'm Paul Liu with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. I'm the manager of the Resource Planning Policy and Management section.
I'm Wendy Ritterbush, Executive Director of CalDSAL.
I'm Leslie DeBalian, a Principal Water Resources Specialist with the San Diego County Water Authority and a board member for the Southern California Salinity Coalition.
Hi, I'm Jennifer West. I'm the Managing Director of Water Reuse California.
Great. Now, each of our panelists will share her or his perspective. To start us off, Paula, why is it important that we consider these issues and challenges related to maximizing reuse right now? And what do you see as the most important actions that we could take as an industry or that your agency is taking based on those insights?
Hannah, you bring up a good point about maximizing reuse by looking at a volumetric approach alone may pose challenges as it doesn't really address the local considerations for maximizing recycled water. For example, the wastewater availability may not be the same as the recycled water demand in a community. In San Francisco, our approach to maximizing recycled water is to ensure that we have customers for the recycled water that is produced. In our dense city, we recognize that our best investment for recycled water from centralized recycled water facilities is to serve the largest irrigation customers, such as golf courses and parks. However, we additionally identified there are other opportunities for new developments and new buildings in San Francisco to collect, treat, and reuse water on site for non-potable applications. As a result, we require all new buildings over 250,000 square feet to install on-site water recycling systems to provide recycled water for toilet and irrigation purposes. Our approach to recycled water for non-potable applications through both centralized and decentralized recycled water treatment, we estimate that we'll be able to meet approximately 90% of the feasible non-potable demands in San Francisco. Looking to the future and moving beyond non-potable applications, we recognize that we have additional opportunities to treat wastewater and produce purified water. San Francisco does face some unique challenges for purified water, as we do not have any water reservoirs, very limited groundwater recharge capabilities, and no water treatment plants in the city. As a result, treated water augmentation is our only option. We recognize treated water augmentation will require additional public education to enable public acceptance and additional treatment to ensure public health protection. We plan to initiate a demonstration of purified water facility and public engagement opportunities to further this work. Finally, we are also working on a number of regional partnerships to explore the opportunities to produce purified water for our regional water system. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. Great perspective from Northern California. To shift us down south, Paul, what's your take?
Thank you for this opportunity. And first of all, it is very exciting to hear what San Francisco and the other agencies are doing up north. Here down south, we have a lot of things going on, from San Diego's Pure Water Program to MWD's Regional Recycled Water Program. And here in Los Angeles, what we call our Operation Next program, which is our vision to reuse all available wastewater effluent by 2035. And so how are we going to do that? This is always going to be a partnership with our Los Angeles Bureau of Sanitation, which is a separate department in partnership. They have their Hyperion 2035 program that's going to look to transform that entire plant into an advanced treatment plant. Now, we have upwards of just over 200,000 acre feet of purified recycled water that we can reuse within the city, and that can account for roughly a third of the overall city demand here in Los Angeles. So this is definitely our flagship program moving forward. So with the Hyperion transformation, what are we going to do with the water? And we're going to talk about it in different buckets or components. The first piece will be a pipeline about 15 miles to the east to put it into the Central Basin groundwater basin there that's managed by the Water Replenishment District of Southern California for groundwater replenishment, and then eventually we will pump that water out into our potable system to offset imported water. The second bucket or the component is that purple pipe that you see going north all the way up to our Los Angeles Aqueduct filtration plant. This is what we call our third aqueduct here in Los Angeles. And the hope there is that we can take this purified recycled water and put it ahead of our filtration plant up there in a direct potable reuse application. The exciting thing is that the state just recently came out a couple of days ago with draft regulations for direct potable reuse. So the third bucket, moving on from there, moving back down south, is you see the purple line that extends from that Central Basin location all the way over to that green dash line. That's the proposed line for the Metropolitan Water District and the County Sanitation District of Los Angeles's Regional Recycled Water Program. And so we are exploring with MWD potential to be able to hook up both of our programs together. They have a similar program in size that they're looking into. So really exciting stuff here in Los Angeles. Some of the key actions that's been identified already, I'm just going to highlight a couple of them in terms of what we need to do. The first, obviously, collaboration and regional approaches, which this program is going to have to entail. We're working with the Water Replenishment District of Southern California with MWD. This is definitely going to be a regional approach here for us down here in Los Angeles. And the second is the regulatory alignment. We talked about the DPR regs that the state's coming up with, and that is really going to open up the door to give us a lot of options to be able to use this water wisely. And so that summarizes what we hope to do. Our programmatic EIR, the notice of preparation was just released about a week ago. And so we are embarking on that process right now. I'm really excited to see what the future holds.
Thank you, Paul. Wendy, what's your take on this topic?
Our response to the issues and challenges posed include the key fact that salinity management becomes increasingly important to the success of a range of alternative water supplies, including recycled water and desalinated water, that are a part of Governor Gavin Newsom's water resilience portfolio to diversify California water supplies. And proposed solutions include additional research and funding and accelerating innovation to increase greater cost effectiveness of RO concentrate reuse and disposal. While concentrate disposal is less challenging in coastal areas with access to an outfall, utilities need to continue to be able to discharge RO concentrate into the ocean as long as the regulatory requirements are being met.
Thanks, Wendy. Now, Leslie, what's your take on this topic?
I'd like to focus on the importance of regulatory alignment and water quality. The governor's water resilience portfolio identifies the need for better coordination across agencies and programs to improve water management. We need to better align overlapping regulatory authority, which will require breaking down traditional silos. An example is the state recycled water policy and salt and nutrient management plans, Irrigated Lands Program, and Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. These all require data collection and reporting, and a more coordinated approach would protect groundwater while also promoting recycled water use. Programs like Integrated Regional Water Management are a great tool to foster collaboration. The resilience portfolio also prioritizes source control programs for emerging contaminants. The state board has been a leader in this area and convenes science advisory panels focused on protecting public health and the environment. But there are many agencies with overlapping authority at the federal, state, and local level, and improving interagency coordination is essential for cohesive source control management. The public has become increasingly concerned about drinking water quality, and while water agencies have robust treatments to ensure the safety of recycled water and potable reuse supplies, controlling chemicals before they enter the environment not only protects water quality, it reduces treatment costs and improves supply reliability. We need to encourage and incentivize environmental stewardship at the community and industry levels. Collectively, as water utilities, regulatory agencies, and the environmental community, we need to work together to do a better job of communicating to the public relative risk and the safety of recycled water and potable reuse.
So to close us out, Jennifer, what is your take on this topic?
Yes, thank you. Well, agencies throughout California have really exciting plans to greatly expand water recycling and are building local drought resilient water supplies, as we've heard. But as identified in the California Water Use Action Plan and the governor's water resilience portfolio, one of the major obstacles is lack of funding. Water Reuse California recently conducted a survey and found that in the next 10 years, communities will need to invest nearly $13 billion to fully develop all the planned projects statewide. Water Reuse California and the National Water Reuse Association are seeking funding through state and federal legislation and initiatives for these purposes. In California, we're working on a climate adaptation bond that may go before the voters in 2022. And that bond, we are asking for $1.5 billion for water recycling. We're meeting with the legislature, the administration, we're mobilizing our members and trying to build coalitions of allied interests to support our proposal. We're also working with the Water Board to streamline and accelerate low-interest loan funding for water recycling under the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. On the national level, the Water Use Association is working with Congress and the Biden administration to increase funding for WIFIA, Title 16, and again, the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. So these are all really, really exciting opportunities, but to be successful, we're going to need to fully mobilize and engage like never before.
Definitely. Thanks, Jennifer. And thank you again to all of our panelists, our CUWA agencies, and our collaborative partners, CalDSAL, Water Reuse California, and Southern California Salinity Coalition. If you want more information on any of the topics that we just had time to briefly touch on today, please go to the CUWA website. There is a full 4-page issue brief and supporting slide deck you can read more on. Thank you.